So I'm going to throw some questions to our ladies who've kindly donated their time. The first question that I'm going to have is for Karen. Karen, if a water tank supplies the toilet or laundry, can this be offset against the requirement of a 3-star rating for the shower head to allow water usage to be charged back to the tenant?
No, unfortunately not. A rain tank has nothing to do with the flow or the shower head or the internal taps of the property. So no, it specifically states that it has to be 3-star rating, shower heads and devices inside the property. The water tank relates to the exterior of the property.
Julie, does the notice period for a rent increase remain at 60 days plus the postage time?
Yes, it does, and that still has to be posted out. So make sure that you do not put that in anybody's letterbox and deliver it that way. It must still be posted with the 4 days postage.
Karen, can a rent increase or lease renewal be less than 60 days notice if the tenant agrees to a lesser period?
No, unfortunately not. We have legislation in place for a reason. The Act clearly states that the notice period must be 60 days regardless.
So even if a tenant verbally or puts in writing that they're happy for a lesser term, we still have to use that full 60 days?
Absolutely, that's the legislation.
My next question is for Julie. Can we format the disclosure statement for the landlord to sign? And can we format a disclosure statement provided to the tenant?
Yes, I would suggest that you do format the one for the landlord. Make sure that you have all the specific points required with the changes to the Act noted in them and have your landlord sign them. With regard to the one to the tenant, only give them the specific items that relate to that tenancy. So if there aren't any problems relating to the property as far as previous deaths, anything like that, there's nothing to disclose, so you don't have to give them any information in regards to that.
If there was any previous deaths, rapes, robberies, what do you have to supply the tenant then?
The tenant has to be made aware before they sign the lease and enter into the agreement that something untowards did happen at the property, and it has to be stated to them what it was. My suggestion would be that it is written into the lease what the problem was and that they are signing to acknowledge that they are still happy to take the property, being aware of this.
So Karen, do you know when the relevant paperwork, and I'm assuming that they mean condition reports, lease agreements, when any of this will be ready and printed?
Well, it depends on the resources you're using in your office. My understanding is the Department of Fair Trading website already has their fact sheets and forms ready to go. Any electronic forms that people are using will update automatically on the date of change for the legislation. So if you're using those, anybody that's using forms that you have to order from the printer, as long as you've got your order form in ready to go, they'll be able to give you a reasonable date on when the new forms will be ready.
So Julie, have any of the CTTT forms changed?
What the agents need to do is to go online, download the new tribunal application forms. They will notice that it has changed dramatically, and make sure that they remove all the previous forms from their office.
So Karen, does the landlord need to sign any new paperwork?
Then the answer to that question is no. The only thing that should change on the agency agreement is the lease preparation fee. And as our fee is currently at $33, if anything, in most agencies the fee will be going down. So there's no need to enter into a new agreement with the landlord, unless, of course, as we discussed earlier, the disclosure statement, then that is something that they need to sign. But it doesn't mean you have to sign a whole new agency agreement. The disclosure statement can be attached to the relevant paperwork.
Julie, do we need to contact our tenants to make them aware of the changes?
We should be notifying the tenants now of the changes. The best way of doing that is to download the fact sheet that's being supplied by the Department of Fair Trading and just issue them with a copy of that. That way, if they have any further questions, they can actually go online and have a look at the Act themselves.
Karen, how is this going to affect our sales team?
Our sales team. I think it's very important to make sure that we sit down as a group in our office and ensure that we are providing training and that our salespeople are aware of all of the changes that are coming. I'm a bit of a procedure Nazi, so I would prefer to have them sign off to say that we have explained the new changes to the Act and put it in the employment file. because we as property managers have established a very good relationship with our tenants, and often that can go pear-shaped when there's poor communication. So get a fact sheet for our salespeople, go through it in some kind of training, get their initials at the bottom, and ensure that it is happening. You've got to keep that communication open between the salespeople, the tenant and the property manager to make sure that it's all flowing and going well.
So Julie, will there need to be different or extra letters to go out at specific times?
Not necessarily. The main thing with the letters that are already in place in your office is to make sure that you have the correct termination periods and notice periods, so 60 days to 90 days and things like that. Refer to the Act and it's quite clear in there.
Karen, how long do the landlords have to replace their current shower heads to water-saving ones or their taps?
My understanding, the current tenancies, so as long as there's somebody living at the property and the tenancy doesn't change, they have 12 months. Any new tenancies are immediate. So if a tenant gives notice in the next, between now and the legislation change, it's best to just get it underway now and do it. So any new changes are immediate.
Mm-hmm. Julie, as there appears to be no suppliers of the new documentation currently able to supply the paperwork, what should be used in the meantime?
We should have copies of all the documents in the next week or two. However, if you need something urgently, if you go to the department website, you can actually download the Act and put that into a form of the residential lease.
If you'd like to have a look on Gateway under legislation, we actually added some information around about September last year, which had the amendments to the new legislation, and Kaplan are also supplying with their training a whole sheet of information that can help you with your training requirements as well. But the Department of Fair Training have a fact sheet that you can send out to all of your tenants and landlords in regards to the minor adjustments that currently are involved with your legislation. I think what you need to look at is that not to go into panic stations with it. Again, make sure you understand the legislation. If you need any further help, please feel free to contact Karen, Julie or myself. Jump on the Kaplan's website to do some training, jump on the REI NSW website, and also have a look at what the CTTT and the Department of Fair Trading supply. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.